We started June. Right, so today I'm here with Harlie. He's absolutely gorgeous. So he's a traditional. He does lots of showing, and I've known his mum, Michelle, for years. But I don't know Harlie that much other than on Facebook. So today, Michelle, say hello, Michelle.
Hi!
I was happy to come and speak with him. So I just touched base before I came with him. So the first thing that I do, Michelle, like you invite him into your heart because you've got a feeling from inside. And I was just saying to Michelle, when he invited him in, he didn't want to come in. And I always thought Harlie was a love everyone kind of horse, and he's kind of saying he's not. So that's what I was quite surprised about. And then the first thing he did show when he came in, he started eating hay. I've never had a horse stand in my heart and eat before. I couldn't believe it. It literally came in and he stood there eating. I'm like, okay, we're just going to roll with that then, Harlie.
Food orientated.
Is it?
Yes.
Bloody hell, so that is the first thing he did. And then I asked him what some of his favourite things was, so no surprise with the next one. He said the grass in the field and being with his friends. He says friends are really important to him. Like some horses can like take it or leave it, whereas he's like, no, I really need to know who my herd is. I need to know who my friends are. He needs that kind of and he says, although he will go out by himself on a ride, he prefers to have that when he's out as well. Now this was, and it almost contradicts himself a bit further on, but what happens is it just goes a layer deeper. So what he said was, he loves it that everybody loves him. Everybody, there's not one person. Get off that. He's having his elastic coat, I tell you. There isn't one person that doesn't love him. But he then moved on to say, because later on it was a little bit contradictory, but it isn't actually, so I will explain why. And he said because everybody sees something different in him. So some people look at him and think, oh wow, he's a really nice traditional horse, he'd be a really nice show horse. Some people look at him and think, oh my god, he's so safe, he's so perfect. Some people look at him and see this dead playful horse. Everybody who looks at him, he says he's never noticed it with other horses, but everybody sees something completely different in him, and he loves that. He's such a fidget. He absolutely loves that everybody sees that in him. Oh, and then he says that he wants to go on straw. He says it's better for him. It reminds him of being with his mum. And he said that, although he doesn't have a single stable staying on him, he says that he
does.
Oh, does it?
Right on his neck here.
He said that he can keep himself cleaner in straw. So I don't know if that's an option or something you want, because I know it doesn't smell as nice as shavings.
It's for his feather that we put him on shavings.
So do you want me to tell him?
It's for his own benefit with his feet because he struggled with canker. And it was vet recommended for him to go on to the
go on. And what was he on straw at one point?
He was on straw originally when bought him.
Okay. So Harlie, it's best that you go on his shavings because it's better for your hooves. Then what was canker like? You're not familiar with it.
It's a bacterial infection in feet.
Right.
Which can kill them.
Bloody hell.
So it was very, very important that we had to go on this. I take all his wet out every day. Obviously, all his poos come out every day, and we just have to be super clean.
Don't put that coat outside.
I'm gonna move it now.
Okay. So Harlie, it's because of when you had the canker in your feet. Back up, son. When you had the canker in your feet, it's best that you're on this. You can put it on the floor, June. And it's better for your fur as well. The fur on your feet. He says he likes it on straw because it clumps together and he can put the bed where he wants the bed to be. Looking at this bed, I think you're a little bit OCD and you like the bed to be exactly how it is, but he's saying I can make my own bed. So for Harlie, for your own good, you have to stay on shavings, okay? Yeah? He's asking why was it okay when he was a baby? Should I tell him because the mum horses kind of like need to make almost like a bed for them?
Yeah, we didn't know that he was going to have the problems with his feet at that point either.
Right, okay.
So it was just a case of we put him on shavings when the problem occurred.
Right, okay. So Harlie, it's because when you was a baby you didn't have any problems, but then you did. Remember when your feet were sore, you had to. Did he sand his feet in a bucket? Yeah. He's saying when I put him in the bucket, yeah, so that's why you had to go on the shavings, okay. Maybe one day, at the moment, because on this stable's in the winter time, you have to stay in your stable a lot, don't you? It's just better.
Does he like having a net of straw? Because every now and again I feed him straw in a hay net. I wonder if that's what he's wanting rather than a bed.
Might be. Let's ask him. He says he says he likes it. He said it's almost like chewing gum, stays in the mouth longer. Like it doesn't break down dead quick like hay. He says it stays in the mouth longer. He says it's almost got like a vinegary taste to it, which he quite likes. That's as close as I can describe it to a vinegary taste. Yeah, he says he likes that, definitely. Well, this might make sense actually. I called it a toy, but I didn't know exactly what he was saying. I'm thinking this is exactly what he's talking about. He says he wants a toy that hangs up in his stable.
Exactly what it is.
That's what it is. And it was straight after, literally. Straw, toy.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is why I always read this when they always
treats in that little hay net there as well.
Right.
So
that's what
that could be that as well.
Ah.
But as you can see, there's a trend with food orientated.
Yes,
very,
definitely.
very much so.
And this is what he moved on to say. So he was saying, I want some more toys in my stable, some that hang up. And he asked about some on the floor as well. And he says he wants them to have treats in them. Or food, obviously, like you just said. And he said that he likes to think about how to figure things out. So he likes it when he has to get something out of something, or maybe, do you ever, I don't know if he's ever seen it then, do you ever have like a licket hanging or something?
I have done in the past.
Yeah, so he kind of like was showing me, it's kind of like the plan of where am I best to go to get it. And I suppose you could do it with vegetables, couldn't you, maybe?
Yeah.
He really likes.
That's what I used to do. It was never a lick. It was always like a carrot and a swede. And that's
Right.
when he was younger and hang them from the ceiling.
So that's what he wants back now.
Right.
He gets a bit of gives himself a little chufty badge when he figures it. Get off me. When he figures it out, get off. What else did he say then? So he said he's kind and willing, but he's also his own person. And he says that sometimes he feels that people don't always notice him because he's not always dead brash about it, about the way he is. And he says that he likes it when people actually, especially you, being his mum, stay in the stable with him and get to find out his tics. He showed me Michelle as well. Right, I'm just going to back him up.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because
He's in your face, isn't he?
yeah, and he's kind of not really, he's not seeing me as a person, if that makes sense. He's quite stallion still, isn't he, a little bit?
Yes and no. He has a few little culty tendencies, but nothing
Major.
mainly.
Right.
But he can be a bit bargy with you when you're in the stable. Like,
Right,
I wouldn't
okay.
say bargy. He's not bargy as in rude with it, but he wants to be with you. He's got
Yes.
his foot touching you.
Gwen's
if
like
that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, all over you, yeah. Gwen's exactly the
I
same.
can't look him out while he's in. I have to tie him up
Because he's
I
all
get
over.
nothing done.
Yeah, Gwen would kick the barrow over. And it's funny because actually when even though I said he's a little bit stallion-y, colty-ish, when I speak to horses and they tell me I'm just like a stallion, you have to clip him on, Sean, so it's fine.
Sure.
Yeah, it's fine. They're often cut late and he didn't say that. So he obviously don't feel that way too much, but he's quite immune to. So, so he really likes that, and he was kind of like, in a way, almost like the feeling that I was getting, sometimes you find him fascinating. And you just watch him.
Yeah, I do.
And he loves, he knows that you see him on a different layer, a different level, and he says that's what people don't get, and he says that a lot of horses don't have that.
No.
Their owners, no matter how long they've had them for, they don't see them on that level, and he thinks that you've got almost like a, not a sixth sense, that's a bit dramatic, but like this thing where you can actually see not only horses but people,
Connection.
yeah, on a different level,
Yeah.
and he feels really blessed to have that with you. And then he was showing, so I kept saying, what else are your favourite things? But he kind of stops after food. But sometimes they go on to like loads of things, and if everything was like food, then he was like, that's it. But then one thing he showed me being ridden, and it was under like almost, it was a sunny day, but it definitely felt like spring, not summer. Because I don't think he liked it hot.
No, he doesn't.
But he liked the sun, and it was like showing me like all the sun coming through branches and trees and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then he showed me down at the rivers, And he says that when he puts his legs in the water, it gives him like a tingly feeling when the water moves through his fur.
Yeah.
And then he says he likes to pour the water under his belly because that feels really like tingly.
Yeah, he always does. He always
does it?
Always.
And
every time.
And he says that when he's being back, that's his favourite bit, when you're back under his tummy as well. So I'm just going to test it
You like
because...
it?
Is it?
Yeah.
I actually wouldn't actually really stroke a horse under the tummy because I've never had a horse that particularly likes it. But he was like, no, honestly, I love it. That's my favourite bit when they're back there. And he likes it when the water comes under and drips off his tummy. He's like,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of his favourite things.
You're not job, aren't you?
Let's see, what else is it?
Don't be rude.
And then he was showing me chop. Now I don't often exactly name the chop, but it really seemed like, is it Danger that has like the brown dusty stuff in?
He's not on Danger, but he's on something very similar.
Oh, was he on something similar? It was definitely seemed like that. Whereas, and I don't normally actually name it because I'm never normally sure. I might just describe the way it looked.
Yeah.
Definitely looked like Danger. And he said it's almost got like a coffee taste to it.
Alright.
And he says he loves the mix. Most horses have cubes, but he says he's definitely had mix at some point. But he said he's fine to just have a bucket of that. He said I really like it, and he knows that it's good for him.
Yeah.
And he wants to do, so obviously I know that he does a lot of showing. So I was asking him about the show, and he said he likes showing with the kids, and he says he likes spending time with the children without adults around. He said because when adults are around, they're too blocky and they're too... They don't let them explore him, yeah, and he loves people exploring him, being all over him, like noticing tiny little things. He doesn't like being a cookie cutter horse. He wants to be something different. So he really likes it because he loves his mum when the kids are in with him. Yeah, so he says that he loved it when, and he explained this really well when you did the show with him. He said that he could feel how vulnerable and almost scared you felt, but you also felt that no matter what happened, because you was with him, I'm gonna get emotional, because you was with him, you knew that he would look after you, and the main person you wanted to impress that day was him, and you wanted to do it for you. And he knows how he stopped nipping and everything now, because it's just like he wants you to hear that so much. And he says that he's never felt that way before. He's never felt so proud. He's never felt you so proud. And he really, 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 really wants to know if you guys can find some shows that are special for you and him. He thinks that, he actually said, I think that I would win them all. And he kept showing me the So, and he says that, he said, I don't know if they still do trophies, I'm not showing years, but he thinks that he would win trophies in that. So I don't know if they do trophies in, like...
I don't know. We do classes. You've been with me quite a few times, haven't you? And Shell, obviously.
Yeah.
But we're out this month, and I've actually booked a class to do with him.
Oh
Not ridden,
my
it's
God,
just
that's
in
amazing.
But yeah.
That's if he could do anything, that's what he wants to do, is classes with you.
Yeah.
And he's like, because he never felt it was like the pressure wasn't there, and it was. I can't describe the feelings. I've never been in that situation. I'm trying to describe the best I can. It was just this feeling of fear, but comfort, and it's almost like ride or die.
Yeah.
It was just so gorgeous, and he's saying, because he's not nibbling you at all, he's just sat on you, he wants you to sit with that message. And that's what he really wants to do. Obviously I don't know if it's something that you could do, but it's what he really wants to do. And he would like you to ride him in one. He really wants you to ride him in one. He says that when you ride him, he knows what you want him to do before you even do it, before you ask him. He says, but I'm still a horse, I don't always do it.
Yeah.
I know what she wants me to do, yeah.
Cheeky,
and then he kept showing me flashes of his mum.
Okay.
He knows that that's his mum, and he said that now if he was to go out with her, it would be his turn to look after her. And then he was showing me that when he was his baby, he was with another foal that was mostly a solid colour. It was dark. I think it still probably might have been coloured, but it was mostly dark. And then he kept specifically showing me this horse's face, and I don't know if it was the foal's face or whether it was the mare's face. it was dark and it had almost like, and he used this word to describe it, a box of white on its nose. Quite boxy, this really distinct marking. I don't know if you know, or whether you could maybe ask who bred him if he was out of a horse at that time. So that's the rest of me notes. I'm just going to ask him a little bit more about why he wanted to talk about this. He wants to know what happens to the other foals.
The other foals that he would have been with,
Yeah.
they've all gone on and got homes.
What kind of homes? What they do? No?
I don't know. I know some of them. I have come across other Acresdale ponies.
Oh, right.
On the showing circuit. So I know some of them are showing homes. Some of them are just normal ponies.
Riding horses, yeah.
And they'll just have normal homes.
Right.
I know a lot of them are out on the circuit.
Right. So Harlie, they've all gone to homes like you. And you've got families like you, sometimes bigger families. You said, do you think some of them get rode by children too? Probably, yeah.
Because they're all roughly the same size.
Oh, right, okay.
So they are a good family horse, really.
Yeah, so they do have, they get rid of by children too. I'm just going to ask him if he wants to say anything else and then we'll go into some questions. Oh, God. I don't think you've already been on something like this, but he wants to know when he can go in the box and go out. Have you been on a farm ride? He's definitely showing me a farm ride. He's asking when can you go in the box and do them again.
We've been talking about them, me and Jeanette.
Have
so
you?
Hopefully we're going to get something started and go soon.
Have you been on one with him before? Oh, okay. I weren't sure if you was.
We went to Sumford.
Oh, nice.
We had a little jump and
No
I
way.
absolutely
Yeah.
It was good fun. We had a really good day, didn't we?
Oh, I loved it. Fucking walk around the whole thing.
Jeanette walked the whole way and Michelle was riding Susie and I took him.
Oh my God.
And we had a really, really good day. But I was
it.
dead nervous.
Right.
I'd never been.
Yeah,
I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what he was going to do. But
Yeah.
he was a really good boy.
Oh God. Well, we can do some EFT on you, so
Yeah.
next time you can completely enjoy it. So yeah, he definitely wants to go there again, and he's asking when about.
As soon as we can. As soon as we can.
Should we tell him it's closed? That's all right.
Yeah. A little white lie.
So, Harlie, Mum's going to let you know maybe about a week before. So when you let him know, picture him being there and doing it. Say Harlie gets attention and imagine yourself doing that.
Okay.
So yeah, you're going to go again. Who says who will go with this time? Just think about. Oh, Jack! Oh my gosh, you're going to go with Jack.
I feel good.
You feel buddy. For some reason, he thinks Jack was going to go.
He's lame at the minute, so that's really interesting.
Does he not? So why do you think that maybe has he not? Unless Samba's they've been thinking of taking him and he knows they've been thinking of taking him, so I was thinking are we going together? Let's see if there's anything else, Jack. That's Jack, I'm talking about Jack Harlie, I'm sorry. No, he says that you've got some things you want to ask. Go on.
So we're having a few issues with Tim Bridge.
Okay.
Going out is absolutely fine, and he'll go underneath.
Yeah.
No problem. But coming home,
Yeah.
he drops down and then stops. And it takes me a good 5 minutes to get him underneath. But what he'll do, he'll go as far as he can to it. His head's underneath.
Yeah.
And it's like he's waiting for me to duck, but I won't duck until I know that he's going.
Right, okay, so let's ask him about that. So, Harlie. Right, he says that when you're riding, you are overcautious of how wide things are, and you always go, watch my legs, Harlie, watch my legs. And he says that he knows that you might hit your head, so he's asking, is your head as delicate as your legs?
No.
It's not.
No sense, no
No.
feeling.
So, right, okay, so. He's also saying that when when people ride him, he understands what they want them to do by the way they position their body. This means go, this means whoa. So when you sat back, he's thinking, is she gonna hurt her head? But he's also thinking, this means stop. So when you're sitting back on him, he's like...
The problem that we've got there, it drops down, so you naturally sit back.
They've made it into a hill to go back under.
Right, okay. So
I just need him to go down the hill and just carry on walking. And
right,
I will lean forward when I know.
Yeah. Okay, so Harlie, let me show him. Just gonna say, so Harlie, listen, when Mum's going down, remember how you know what Mummy's voice means? And when she says, when she clicks or says go, you know that means to go. On the hill, it's a bit different there. Okay. He says it's a little bit slippy under his feet.
It used to be. It's all been cleaned out
It's
now.
cleaned
It's all
out
been
now.
cleaned
Right.
out. So
Alright. So
I'm hoping that we won't have them problems now it's all been done.
So sometimes you will get almost a mixed message. I understand what you're saying, but you have to just listen to what Mum's saying as well. He's trying to tell me something else, just let me think. He's saying that there's some concern from you there as well.
Just the concern that I know that it's going to stop every time I get there.
Right, and that's when it comes into like the chicken or the egg.
Yeah.
You don't know who started it, but there's a cycle going.
Yeah.
So he's sensing the concern, then he's sensing up your aid, even though you don't know you're giving it, to tell him to stop, so he's stopping, and it's almost like, imagine you see these riders that pull and kick, and the horse will know what to do. Even though you're not pulling, he doesn't quite know because it's such a mismatch of signals. So Harlie, you're just going to have to listen to Mum a bit more. And what I need you to do, Michelle, is spend time, 5 minutes before you ride, if you're going that far, and before you get to the bridge, I need you to, from the wide bit, imagine going under, leaning back and going under, and you're going to tell him, you listen to Mum's voice, and Mum says go, you need to go. And you need to tell him, okay, I will watch up here and you need to watch down there. So you tell him, because he's aware that, do you do that with your legs? Are you very aware of your legs?
Going through styles and things like that.
Yeah, and because it's quite an enclosed, he knows there's something different about it. So he's kind of aware of that, and he's trying to manage the situation. And then with the concern, which probably came from him, there could have been a puddle there one day or something, a bird, and he went, oh, and then
we know it has been for
right,
quite some time.
so I've not rode under there for years.
They have cleared it out, and it looks brand new. It looks brilliant.
That's amazing.
So I'm hoping that we won't have those issues. We have been under while it's been cleared out, and we had the same issue, which is why I wanted that clearing up.
Yeah. So you just need to. We'll do some EFT in general anyway with you, but you just need to really picture him and say, I'm going to look up here, and it helps them if you say that you know where they're coming from. Because imagine if, say, you broke your kneecap on a stile, and then every time you got to a stile, no one had listened to you and was just saying, just go through it, Michelle. And you're like, no, but I'm telling you, and you're not ripping your hair out. So just him knowing that you understand why will help him. I'm going to stop the video there because it's probably really